Congratulations to Halo Headlines for the week of July 19th to July 25th, part of Podcast Evolved, your home for Halo. I'm your host, Oren, and with me today is Aaron.
Hi, guys.
So before we get started, just want to do a quick shout out and thank all of our patrons for their continued support to make this show possible. Thank you guys very much. You can head over to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved to learn more about the exclusive rewards that we offer to them. So, pretty big news, I think. Well, not huge, but I think pretty sizable. This week, we got our latest Inside Infinite blog for July, and that's kind of our main topic for this week's headlines. It is all about flighting. The Halo Infinite team are not really doing a traditional closed beta, open alpha preview type of a thing for the multiplayer. They're following suit in what the Master Chief Collection has done with their flighting initiative, and they're transitioning that into Halo Infinite. So, Aaron, today we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. I think it's very excited. I'm excited to play it. I'm registered. Are you registered as a Halo Insider?
I am registered as well. I did that a couple of weeks back. If you are listening to this, shout out now, because I believe, I cannot remember which member of 343 said it recently on Twitter, but a lot of people are not fully registered. There is, when you go to the Halo Insider page on the website, there are a series of ticks for things that need to be done. So go and check it and make sure you are registered and you've picked the platforms you can play on and all the rest of it, because if you are not fully registered, you are definitely not in with a chance of getting an invite. So that's just very important to stress, because you could have as little as a week to be ready to roll.
Yes.
Be prepared, be ready, double check you're fully logged in and signed up, and then just wait and cross your fingers and hope you get an email.
Yes, so head over to Halo Waypoint where you can register as a Halo Insider. Like Aaron said, you have to register with an email, verify your email, and then go through maybe 5 minutes of questions where it's your preferred platform, what Halo games have you played, what Halo games do you enjoy the most, and all these details, whether you're on the console or PC.
I believe you have to be set up as an Xbox Insider as well, so make sure that that is also set up. Because I believe to launch the Halo Insider stuff on the Xbox, you also have to be registered as an Xbox Insider. So it's all these things must be done.
Yes. And you can go to the Halo Waypoint on their website to do this when you sign in with your gamer tag. You can also go to Halo on Twitter. They tweet it pretty much every day and have links that you can follow to very easily sign up. Now, I will want to stress before we get into this that all because you sign up does not mean you will get in, at least initially. I think, 343's goal by, later in the process is to be able to invite everyone who is registered. But if you're familiar with the Master Chief Collection flighting, they have multiple rings, and each ring has a set amount of players that they bring in, and they have more invites go out and enable more rings as certain milestones are met during the flight. So they're going to be doing the similar thing for Infinite.
I would be willing to bet if you have been reasonably involved in the Master Chief Collection flighting so far, that you will probably stand a fairly good chance of getting an early invite, because people that have been doing a lot of stuff with those flights are probably the people they want in initial testing. I'd be willing to bet those will be the first people, and that anyone like me that just signed up and is waiting, we will be the stress test people at the later date.
We'll get into it, but I actually would not be surprised if I don't make it in the first go around because of what they're testing in these stages. But we'll get into it. So let's see what we got here. Again, like every month, these Inside Infinite blogs are just monsters to get through. I recommend just sitting down and giving yourself a good 20 minutes to read through it. We're just going to kind of pick the highlights that we think are kind of what most people are looking forward to, but there definitely is more developer insight within the blogs if you want more to learn about. So first things first, technical preview. 343 is calling this Halo Infinite's flighting the Halo Infinite's multiplayer technical preview. Its goal is to robustly test the game and core services at a large scale to allow players to provide feedback on the game before it launches, and it also this preview is purely technical in nature. It is stressing the game's stability and online services. 343 saying that they are further along than what would truly be considered an alpha, but also not really at the level of overall completeness as you may expect for a beta. So definitely have those expectations in mind if you are invited to the first flight. This build, they also said, is a few months behind the current build that's going on right now in development. There are known bugs that they're going to release, known issues. So again, have those expectations. They really want to focus on the amount of players signing in and testing the stability of their servers and stuff.
You are not here to test whether or not you like the jump height and the bloom or the weapons or whatever else. You are here to go, does this menu work? Does the matchmaking work? That sort of thing. Is the gameplay, is the actual connection smooth? That sort of thing. You were there to test the nuts and bolts of it more than anything else.
They are looking for feedback in the sandbox. They did mention that, core gameplay, maps and modes, but the maps and modes that are going to be available, or specifically the modes, and the fact that you're not really playing against other Spartans, which we'll get into, they're focused on other things. But if you do have any core gameplay feedback and you're invited, you can look into that. But this preview, instead of just putting you against a traditional 4v4 game with different modes like in past Halo betas, this technical preview will focus on the newly added bots and weapon drills to Halo. So they're going to have something called Bot Arena, which is 4 players versus 4 bots, and you're going to be playing Slayer on the Bazaar, Recharge, and Live Fire multiplayer maps. There are 4 levels to bots: Recruit, Marine, ODST, and Spartan. And when the game launches, you'll be able to adjust these settings in custom games. I have a quote here: ODST and Spartan bots will effectively dodge grenades and rockets, while recruits and Marines will not. All bots use equipment. At higher level, bots will grapple shot to you to finish you off with a melee. Bots will keep track of power weapon spawns, sprint to claim them, but most importantly, bots are fair, and we don't change their health and damage values per difficulty level. They are just smarter and more resourceful the higher up you go. So I think in the earlier stages of the technical preview, bots will start off as recruit, and maybe each day or after 12 to 15 hours, they will increase the bot level to ramp up that difficulty that you're playing against in the latter half of the preview. I'm actually really looking forward to playing this, not only from a technical preview point of view, but just to play it. Yeah, that's a purely new Halo experience to have 4 players play against 4 other bots in an arena style game. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that kind of shapes up and how the expectations are, because I imagine some people are going to be overly confident in their ability to play against bots and completely get shut down.
Funny, there is a little anecdote at the end of this that kind of put my expectations slightly more in check, because I think bots, I kind of think of how Warzone firefight goes and how they behave, and you're used to what they do and it's the same thing, and then there's the anecdote at the end where you're like, oh no, this sounds much more complicated and worse, but it worse in a good way, not bad. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they go, because sometimes bots can be as dumb as bricks. Your AI companions in Halo 5, a little bit slow, a little bit stupid, but they talk here about how they'll dodge fire, they'll use equipment, they'll sprint for power weapons when they spawn. The sort of things that make them sound like a genuinely tough opponent. Yeah,
definitely. So that's I forget which game that I was playing some multiplayer game way back, like in Halo 3 days, and it had bots, and I was like, man, oh man, I like wish Halo had bots. But yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I hope these bots are hard, because that would be just good, fun competition. But that also ties into the next element that's going to be tested, which is called weapon drills, which is part of the new Academy suite that's being added to Halo Infinite. And the weapon drills, it's like a firing range challenge simulator where you fight against strafing bots that offer players how each weapon functions. So you have different levels, I guess, of how the opposing bots will function as you're trying to fight against them, and you earn a star rating system based off of the damage that you deal to them. So the more damage you deal to those bots, the more points you will receive. The available weapon drills for the technical preview will be the MA40AR, the BR75, MK50 Sidekick, which is your pistol, the CQS48 Bulldog, your shotgun, the Needler, the VK78 Commando, which is that like semi-automatic
DMR looking sort of thing.
I think it's an automatic DMR, is kind of what it looked like. The S7 Sniper, your plasma pistol, Pulse Carbine, the Ravager, which I can't recall which that one is. Is that the Brute? That might be the Brute weapon that looks kind of like the Mauler. Then you have the Heat Wave, which I don't think we've ever heard of, but I think it's that one from the Viaduct where it can bounce off walls, kind of like the scatter shot.
Yeah, and vaporize you. I think that's a safe bet.
And then you have the Skewer, which I cannot wait to try out. That thing looks awesome and sounds awesome. So it'll be interesting to see how these weapon drills are even performed. So definitely, if you're invited, check them out and leave feedback. And different difficulty levels and star ratings and all that kind of stuff is great for the online competitive leaderboard community. So we'll see how high people can climb. And then the other sort of like third pillar, I guess, to this is more on the back end, which is the UI, menu system, customization, battle pass, and challenges. And I think this is an interesting approach to have because it's definitely something that you just need feedback on for design and stuff. I mean, like you look at how the Xbox dashboard has evolved over time with each new update every couple of months, or every like once or twice a year, to where the dashboard is today. So the 343 is really looking at how the menus are being navigated. Is the battle pass easy to understand? Where you can unlock what you can unlock and how you customize what you earn. There's so many games in the sort of modern time right now that have these battle pass systems, and some of them are more clunky than others. So it's very interesting that this is definitely a part of their preview. That yes, technically how it functions, how it works, and what are players' engagements like. So some of their quotes here are, "We're especially interested in seeing how players move through the UI to unlock their battle passes, check their challenges, use the store, and apply their earned customization elements in the armor hall. This technical preview will feature a truncated battle pass and a small fraction of the customization options planned for launch, and customization items unlocked during the technical previews will not carry over when the game releases later this year. So all progress will not be saved," which I'm okay with because only a select amount of people will be able to be into it. So I don't want them to earn something or get a head start.
I wonder if they'll probably just have like an armor item or something that will be specific only to like preview people, because they've done that in the past with people that did the betas and stuff, where you got a particular item to show that you were there and you did it.
But I don't think it's something that it'll be like, but it's not going to be earned by playing it during the preview. I think it's just like, oh, you played, here's a gift for when the game like actually launches. Here's an emblem or an armor coating.
While we're talking about the customization and UI and stuff, shout out to the fact that credits appear to be back again as the like in-game currency to buy your upgrades.
Yes. So again, we'll see how that happens. Like, are you going to have to buy credits, and you buy battle pass levels based off of credits that you earn? because the Battle Pass, is it Spartan points? Is that what they use in MCC right now? As you level up and do challenges, you earn Spartan points.
I could see that making sense where it would go with that, but I wonder, will Krista be allowed to withdraw her Reach credits and transfer them over? What do you think the exchange rate's like on that?
Probably 0 to 1.
Per Krista. All those credits, nothing to do with them.
1 Reach credit equals 0 Infinite credits.
Per Krista.
Also with this, though, they're going to be launching the Halo Waypoint web integration as well as the new app for iOS and Android. And you will be able to download it if you are not in the technical preview. It just won't be synced with anything because you won't have an invite and you won't have that kind of permission. We don't know how much functionality the app will have if you're not a member. I would hope that this would be kind of the start of there's a new cannon fodder out. Let me check the app and I could read it, on that type of screen as opposed to searching it in the phone browser and having it changed for the mobile formatting. Or maybe they have, Halo 5 or Master Chief Collection integration with the app to where once the app launches, you can you can look into that until Infinite comes out. So we'll see how that all lays out. Then we have our sort of feedback section. They're looking for feedback on the core gameplay, maps and modes, the Academy's weapon drills, menu, and Battle Pass UI. So that's more or less what we've kind of already talked about. They want us to provide feedback via the Afterflight survey that you'll receive in your email, as well as social media like YouTube and Twitter. For bugs and issues, visit support.halowaypoint.com and submit a ticket, but be sure to check the known issues report that will be sent out in your email with your invite to the event, so that way you're not reporting a bug that they already know about. No date was released, but they did say that they are very close and it could happen as soon as next weekend, which would be the weekend of Friday, July 30th. Hundreds of thousands of invites will go out, and they expect more invites to go out for future flights. And Sketch confirms that flights will be only a few days long. He said that on Reddit. Likely be a weekend, and then they'll go away for a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, do some data assessment, and then come back with a new flight. And it'll be this ongoing process between, I guess, let's call it the beginning of August to release. And flights will continue after release as well, much like they do in Master Chief Collection right now. The only other note that I have is there will be a live stream that will probably highlight and showcase arena bots, the UI a little bit, and maybe a few weapon drills. Kind of similar, at least what I'm thinking it would be, is the kind of preview live streams that 343 did when a new Halo 5 DLC content drop was coming out. They had those monthly content drops with new maps and modes, and they did a preview before some of those. So I imagine that's what that live stream is. So they want to do that before the technical preview goes live. So if they're able to do it this weekend, then that preview event would happen sometime this week. Of course, it's all subject to change, but I think it's no doubt that we will get a flight within the month of August. And that's about it. Thoughts, Aaron?
I don't think there's a huge amount more to really say. I was going to say, I've heard there have been a few rumors on podcasts that I listen to, and I've seen some people mention it on Twitter as well, that the flights, when this starts soon, may not be on Xbox One just straight away. There'd been rumblings for a week or two that the flights were coming soon, but that it would be PC and series consoles first and things like that. So it seems like it's lining up that way. So I'll be curious to see who gets in first and what platforms and things like that. But I am excited. Like yourself, I don't think I'm going to get into any of these early ones, but I look forward to jumping into this at some point and playing around with it. One thing I wanted to just call out was there's the little bit at the end from Joe where he usually writes down something, and he talked about his encounter with a bot set to ODST difficulty, and how he expected it to be a bit of a cakewalk, but the bot was able to drop his shields with a grenade, force him back into hiding, and then he hid behind a wooden door on the bazaar map and thought he would be safe until the bot charged around the door and took him out with 2 shots. And I thought, like, that sounds very interesting that they seem proactive like that. So I'm curious to like get my hands on it and see just how good they are, because the other hope is if they're like all right, I like the idea of them being able to fill in slots on your team and not just be like a dummy AI that's just taking up an empty space because someone quit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how all that's implemented, you know, which difficulty to choose on. Yeah, I'm really excited for weapon drills. I think the most out of these 3, and that's mainly because if you're looking for a warm up before jumping into some games, or you want to practice your BR or your strafing or something, like having a firing range type of space is something that I've had experienced in other games, and I think having that in Halo is amazing. And so you can get out your sniper, you can get out your pistol, and just practice your aiming and your shots on moving targets to kind of hone in your skill before you jump into a match. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Or even just to strengthen your skill with the different difficulties, you know, whatever kind of challenges that they have. Be very interesting.
Stay tuned for more information.
Stay tuned for more. I'm sure we'll have another Halo headlines next week. The only other thing I will shout out is that we are approaching episode 250 for our show, and we have something special planned. You know, if you listen live, you get to experience it live, but if you're following us on social media, you will be able to see some tweets and some Instagrams for what we have in store to kind of celebrate 250 episodes of the main show. More of that in the next week. Thank you all for listening and joining us, and we'll see you next week on the next Halo Headlines episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you are unaware, you can check out our website of halopodcastevolved.com. It features all of our other episodes of a library of content like our main show, Podcast Evolved, Mission Debrief, which is currently doing a 20 for 20 best of series of all the Halo missions, Halo Book Club, and Builds with Blocks. Also listen to our partners Will and Josh over at HCS Pro Talk and their podcast for all your competitive Halo news. And once again, another shout out to all of our patrons for their continued support to make this show possible. Head over to patreon.com/podcastevolved.com to learn more. I have been your host, Oren, and with that, until next time, evolved.
Evolved.